Imagine this, you've watched 9 whole seasons of a great sitcom which spent so much time building up a beautiful relationship with 2 of its main characters. They've been through so many challenges, highs, and lows together. The final season of the show is set around this couple's wedding weekend, and you finally, after everything, get to see them walk down that aisle. And then, the very next episode, they get divorced. When the finale of How I Met Your Mother aired, viewers were left with so many disappointments, one of which was the ending for Barney and Robin. They were a highly contentious couple, so I wanted to have a look back at their relationship and see, were they really meant to be? For the first 2 seasons, there isn't much that hints at them being a couple, but there are 2 shining moments that plant the seeds for what's to come. In season 1, Robin plays wingman to Barney and they end up having a bros night together. Their chemistry is very clear and they have a lot in common. Barney even thinks they're going to hook up, but there's only one problem. Robin still has feelings for Ted. It's telling how quickly Barney drops everything and listens to Robin, which shows that over everything they have a strong friendship and they genuinely care for each other. In season 2, Robin insists she doesn't go to malls and Barney is so sure it's because she was a star. Say what you will about Barney, but at least he doesn't judge her for that.
You dumped a porn star? Friendship over. Friendship over!
When they find out the truth about Robin's teenage pop star career as Robin Sparkles, Barney is obsessed, and that's arguably what leads to the start of their love. Because in the next season, after her high school ex Simon dumps her again, Robin ends up talking to Barney about it, and he comforts her in the sweetest way. After that, Robin invites him back to hers to watch another Robin Sparkles tape. And then
they watched it over and over that night until finally they stopped watching.
You said it'd be okay.
I think I'm in love with Robin.
Now, of course, the hookup leads to issues with Ted, and Barney is beside himself for breaking the bro code, and they stop being friends. That is until Ted gets into a car accident, and Barney, without a second thought, rushes down to the hospital, which results in him getting Regina George. In the hospital room, Marshall asks him a question.
Hey, Ted said that right before the accident, his life flashed before his eyes. You know, all the stuff he loves. Did that happen to you?
Oh yeah, I know what he saw. Boobs.
Scotch.
Money.
Suits.
A suit of money.
A suit of boobs. A giant boob wearing a suit of money.
And the boob is lactating scotch.
Yes, that's pretty much everything you love, right? Yeah, pretty much.
At the start of season 4, Barney admits this to Lily, but he's still Barney and sleeps with other girls. But after a good lecture from Lily, he buckles down and genuinely tries to better himself on their date. But when he realizes that Robin doesn't feel the same, all this growth is reversed. At this stage, the problem with their relationship is that they can't get over their ways. Barney is a womanizer and Robin only turns to hooking up with him at points of emotional weakness. As sweet as some of their moments are, they would never work as a couple right now. When Ted and Robin become roommates, they struggle with keeping the peace and so begin hooking up, and Barney is clearly very disturbed by this. He cares a lot about Robin and this situation hurts him, but it's also very hypocritical considering he continues to sleep with other women, even reaching 200 this season. A little later in the season, Barney's mum, who similar to Barney was very promiscuous, tells him to promise not to run away if he meets someone special. And with a glance to Robin, he says,
I'll try.
Then comes the final episode of the season, when Barney is finally ready to tell Robin his feelings. He even gets Ted's approval. And right as he's about to tell her, Robin confesses that she is in love with him. Suddenly, all of Barney's feelings are gone. But when it turns out that Robin only said that because she'd overheard Barney before, he's back at it again. In the hospital after Ted's goat attack, the two spend the whole night arguing back and forth because they clearly both like each other, but their commitment issues won't allow them to be together. But in the end, their feelings win.
Boyfriend. Barney Stinson is my boyfriend.
Season 5 opens with the couple carrying out a secret relationship because they're too scared to label it. Lily eventually forces them to, and they lie, saying that they're boyfriend and girlfriend. They may say that they're lying, but it's clear to see that the two of them do feel that way about each other and want to be in a proper relationship. Sometime off screen, they officially label it. Then, in Robin 101, Barney takes night classes to try and be the person that Robin likes. She gets crazy, believing that Barney is cheating on her. In the end, Barney learns an important lesson that he can't take shortcuts if he wants to be with her, and Robin learns to be a little bit more trusting, and the two of them show that they clearly care for each other. Once they're together, they share some cute moments, like Barney trying to convince Robin to get American citizenship. The relationship doesn't last too long though, because not long after, the two act like they are perfect only for it to be discovered that they've been fighting non-stop. The next episode, they break up amicably because they feel they bring out the worst in each other, even if they do genuinely have feelings for one another.
If you have chemistry, you only need one other thing.
What's that?
Timing. But timing's a bitch.
Right after their breakup, Barney moves on insanely quickly, busting out his old playbook to get girls, and even going through the effort of making a super date for one girl just so he can sleep with her. But he realizes he's completely been neglecting Robin, who's been going through the breakup like a normal person. Well, mostly. But Barney gets over himself and gives Robin the super date with Dot. In season 6, two of them have kind of drifted apart, so when Robin tries to turn to Barney for comfort, he completely overlooks her for another girl to sleep with. The gang is participating in a race to get to Gregor's steakhouse, so when he realizes what a tough time Robin is having, he lets go of his ego and allows her to win the race. The thing with Barney and Robin is that they make a lot of mistakes, but there's so much love there and they help each other overcome their issues. There are many little moments littered throughout the season that show their care for each other. Like when Robin is feeling like she is too independent and Barney tells her that's what he loves most about her. In the final episode, the two bond over stopping Ted from getting back together with Zoe, and it's clear that there's still something there. But they ultimately resolve that even though the past is familiar, they shouldn't run back to it, or each other. At the start of season 7, Robin has feelings for Barney all over again and is even going to confess. The two of them dance together and it's clear that they have so much chemistry. But then, Nora calls. Robin uses her own feelings about Barney to help him win over Nora. After that, she's extremely upset and goes out to the porch to smoke a cigar, encountering Ted. There, she gives him some very wise words.
You're Ted Mosby. You start believing again.
In what? Destiny?
Chemistry. If you have chemistry, you only need one other thing.
What's that?
Timing. But timing's a bitch.
This honestly perfectly sums up their relationship because the two have had chemistry from the start, but something always gets in the way. Their characters, other love interests, or something else entirely. In the Stinson missile crisis, Barney and Nora are dating and he works incredibly hard to be a good boyfriend to her. It's almost like Robin made Barney into this committed, loving boyfriend, but she wasn't able to reap the benefit. This makes Robin incredibly jealous and she attempts to meddle. Eventually, she comes to her senses and realizes Barney deserves happiness, and Barney gets into a relationship with Nora. Later, Robin finds her own happiness with Kevin, which is a very interesting relationship.
Show of hands, who thinks it's creepy to date your therapist?
You're so dumb.
Throughout season 7, the two are both in respective committed relationships. In Disaster Averted, the gang tells Kevin the story of a hurricane and why there is an absolutely no boogie boarding sign at the bar. This hurricane was serious and everyone's parents called to check up on them, except Robin's dad. She insists it's because the weather is fine and nothing's gonna happen. But Barney knows Robin well enough to know that she wants her dad to call. He does take advantage of this like an asshole and pranks her, but he apologizes and comforts Robin, saying one of the cutest lines ever.
When I let a day go by without talking to you, that day's just no good.
In the present day, the two of them share a cab and reminisce on this moment, which leads to After the relapse, Barney admits that he still has feelings for Robin and commits to getting together with her. Because of his growth as a character, he realizes how badly he hurt Nora and comes clean immediately, leading to their breakup. But Robin chooses Kevin, leading to one of the best moments in the show and breaking Barney's heart. Later on, Robin ends up breaking up with Kevin due to her infertility. Barney meets Quinn, a stripper who originally scammed him out of a lot of money, and Robin starts dating her long-term crush, Nick. Quinn and Barney initially seem to be a perfect match. They're both diabolical and well suited to each other. Their relationship moves very fast, moving in together and getting engaged within the span of a few episodes. And so begins what Ted calls the summer of love, as everyone in the gang is in happy relationships. But then, the autumn of breakups arrives, and Barney and Quinn get into a huge fight over prenups. They realize in the end that they don't actually trust each other, and break up.
The Robin.
In season 8, during the autumn of breakups, Robin struggles to break up with Nick. They were only together for sex, and now that it has stopped, she realizes he is completely stupid. Barney tries to force them apart by running down to the restaurant to make a false love confession. He insists he just did this to make them break up, but really, we know he's in love. When they work together to help find Barney a new strip club to go to after breaking up with Quinn, they drunkenly kiss. This episode really highlights the key to their relationship, which is the underlying friendship they have with each other. They're so close that they understand each other's interests and can overlook their flaws, and all this time they spent alone together is what leads to this kiss. But Robin shuts it down, though it's clear there's still something there. The two find it very awkward to interact with each other, but Barney does the mature thing and stops everything. Except, as we learn later, he knew exactly how Robin would react, which is to go crazy and obsess over hooking up with him one last time to get him out of her system. Except she can't, because he gets with Patrice. Barney reveals later on that he faked the entire relationship with Patrice to make Robin realize what she wanted, which was him, and then he proposes. Looking back on it, this whole situation was a huge shocking manipulation, which is actually quite terrifying in real life. But the fact that he did it to make Robin realize what he wants is also weirdly sweet, since it's fiction and grand romantic gestures are much more important, especially in the narrative of How I Met Your Mother. I feel like the blow of the situation is just reduced. Finally, Barney Stinson, of all people, is really truly ready to commit to someone, just showing how much he loves her. Now that they're engaged, the couple move in together, and Barney has a tough time letting go of his playbook. He didn't burn it when he said he did, and he lied to Robin about it. Obviously, Robin gets extremely upset, but Barney gets over his issues because he realizes how much he appreciates what he already has. As they live together, Robin discovers all the weird, different, womanizing devices he has in his apartment and asks him to sell the Fortress of Barnitude. At first, Barney refuses, but Robin does it behind his back anyway. Eventually, by the end of the episode, Barney agrees to sell it. Yet, Robin understands how much that place means to him, so she decides to keep it. This is the greatest positive of their relationship. Compromise. Both of them are extremely flawed humans, but they take time to understand the other's perspective and come to a compromise together. For Barney's stag night, Robin and the gang get together to throw the most elaborate, twisted party for Barney, with a lot of trickery, just as Barney likes. And while it is so disturbing, it's kind of perfect how well Robin knows Barney, because he loves it so much. They're so chaotic as a couple, but they love each other and know each other so well, which makes them perfect for each other. In the episode Something Old, Robin starts to get doubts about the wedding and searches for an old locket she buried in Central Park. When she gets upset, she tries to call Barney for help, but since he's playing laser tag with her father, he doesn't get there fast enough. Ted knows to immediately drop everything, but it takes Barney a moment and he comes just a little later. It's quite unrealistic to put the expectation of rushing over there immediately on Barney, considering who he is, but then again, Robin's thinking he's changed and gonna do everything for her. It only takes him slightly more time to get there in the end, so it can't exactly be held against him, as he still knew what Robin wanted, but I understand Robin's perspective that Ted knew it first. While this arc is not explicitly resolved, the following episode shows Barney and Robin going out to dinner and working together despite a couple that they hate. This further reinforces their chemistry and how perfect they are for each other, and Robin seems to understand that while Barney made a mistake, he is still the one for her.
Our wedding is gonna be legendary.
No wait for it?
I've got you. I don't have to wait for it anymore.
The whole of season 9 surrounds the wedding weekend of Barney and Robin. This season there are many challenges the couple overcome in just 48 hours. First, Robin is scared Barney will chicken out of the wedding when he finds out James got divorced, but Barney proves he doesn't need to rely on others anymore. He truly believes in their love succeeding. In the poker game, he struggles siding with Robin over his family. At the end of the episode, Barney learns the wrong lesson and completely cuts off his family, showing his emotional maturity that he still needs to work on. They also struggle with their independence and realize that they need to work together more often. During the rehearsal dinner episode, Barney is stubborn and insists Robin is throwing a surprise dinner party for him, but it turns out he was doing that to throw her one, which reminds her of home. Because even though he hates on Canada, it's clear he understands how much it means to her, and he goes through so much effort to make such a romantic night just for her. Barney gets drunk the night before the wedding and goes missing. In this time, he meets two young boys and tries to pass off all the knowledge he's gotten over the years. He really does love Robin and wants to go through with the wedding, but he's just reliving his glory days with these boys.
And most importantly, whatever you do in this life, it's not legendary unless your friends are there to see it.
Barney also feels stressed about what suit to wear to the wedding, as he's worried he hasn't made the right choice with Robin, but Ted quells those fears. In the end of the aisle, Robin has her turn panicking about everything, but Ted and Tracy both calm her down. Barney tells her how he vows to never lie to her again, and they are both ready to walk down the aisle. He proves this when he confesses to Robin that Ted found the necklace that she'd buried in Central Park all those years ago. The two of them may be an unconventional couple, but they care deeply about each other and help each other learn and change. They truly love each other, and that's important.
Because love's the best thing we do.
Now, the finale takes all of this love, growth, and genuine care and takes a big, fat, steaming pile of shit on it. Because suddenly, in the future, the two have unlearned all their lessons and fight all the time because Robin prioritizes her career and now Barney doesn't feel as if he has anything to do with her. The whole reason that they worked is because Barney respected her independence and also was very independent, but they worked together when they needed to. They were not attached at the hip. They were two individual people who overcame their differences and built each other up to be the best version of themselves. But then they divorce. Barney goes completely back to his womanizing ways, erasing all the growth he made. And then that growth comes back just minutes later when he has a baby. In How I Met Your Father, Robin expresses regret over everything, but Barney doesn't even mention her at all. He's moved on with his life, and now apparently the only reason he changed his ways is because of his new baby, completely ignoring all the growth he had with Robin. The finale and How I Met Your Father literally ruin everything these characters worked so hard for. So I, like many others, like to pretend that the finale doesn't exist. Barney and Robin were a very complicated couple, and they had their ups and downs. I think that in the end, they worked really well together though. They had a lot of challenges to overcome and lessons to learn, but in the end, they came out stronger together. They teach everyone an important lesson. If you truly love someone and they love you back, you have to listen and learn, and you will make it work if you try with each other. Because at the end of the day, love is what matters.